Hello, candle lovers. Thanks for tuning in to me today. My name is Greg, and this hot mess is all Aboot candles. Happy Saturday, everyone. Every Saturday, I like to give you guys a candle haul, except I didn't give you a candle haul last week because last week the plan was to do a Bath & Body Works candle haul. But when I went into the store, I could not find a single thing that I wanted. And it was a good sale last weekend, too. It was $12.95. Well, this weekend, there was a $14.95 candle sale, and I had a 20% off coupon, and there were actually some things that I was interested in. These repackagings of the White Barn core line. I have been saying for a long time now that Bath & Body Works is long overdue to redo these White Barn core candles. These are candles that they have in the store all the time, all year long, candles that obviously have like a fairly big following and are always selling. Things like strawberry pound cake, black cherry merlot, etc. And the old packaging on these candles was starting to look so old-fashioned and dated. I mean, I think it's probably been like 4 or 5 years, probably 4 or 5 years since like the all year long like White Barn core candles have been redesigned. Like this is the old version of Sun-drenched Linen here, just to give you an example. And this is the new version. One of the things that I think is the best about these redesigns is that they all have colored lids on them that match the candle. These jars are like a glass and they're sort of opaque, and it's actually like colored glass jars as opposed to like a wraparound label, whereas these were sort of like almost a ceramic like matte sort of finish. They were opaque as well, but I think that the difference is just extremely noticeable, and it's not a huge difference, but these new ones just look so much fresher and so much more modern. I'm really glad that they finally, redesigned these. These were starting to look so dated, you guys. And so anyways, yeah, last week I went into Bath & Body Works, couldn't find anything, gave them another try this week, and I really wanted to give some of these White Barn candles a try because some of these I haven't actually burned for a really long time. I'm interested to know if these fragrances have been reformulated. Are we getting a little bit more like soy in the formula for these candles than we are with the older versions? Because I do think BBW is upping the amount of soy that they're using in their wax blend. So even though these fragrances aren't all things that I was like super in love with and like had to get, I'm kind of like just nosy and doing this sort of for research purposes more than anything else. That being said, I did pick up 6 of these new like White Barn candles, and turns out there are 6 fragrances in that line that I actually enjoy, and I'm looking forward to burning, and I think are gonna make great spring burns. I also did pick up some of this spring collection, Finally Caved, guys. I thought Journal Moments actually smells quite interesting. Yeah, so we're gonna go through all of these. I still am not biting on that hideous pink lilac and vanilla. One of my favorite fragrances from Bath & Body Works, but I just can't with this horrible packaging this year. As much as I love the fragrance, I have less ugly versions of this candle in my stash. I think I've got about 2 left, so I'll wait until next year. I have to imagine that next year they'll be able to do something that's at least a little bit better than this. And also, I'm not biting on that Sweetest Song candle either. It just smells to me like Gingham Gorgeous, and I like Gingham Gorgeous. And I actually think Gingham Gorgeous is a little bit of a better fragrance. And I have some Gingham Gorgeous candles in my stash, so I just don't need that either, which is crazy because I almost always give one of their single fragrance launch body care fragrance candles a go. I almost always try one because I'm nosy and I want to see what it's like and how does it perform. But I just can't with that fragrance. It just comes across as so redundant to me. I know a lot of people are really enjoying the body care, and I appreciate that, but candle form, home fragrance, It's just not for me. Okay, anyways, let's get into these candles, okay? Lavender Bergamot. So this is the closest thing that we're really getting to like a new candle in this collection. We got Kitchen Lemon as well, which I don't think we've seen in candle form for quite a while. But yeah, we got Lavender Bergamot. This is the closest thing we have to like a new candle in this collection, although it is not new. It came out, I want to say somewhere between 2 to 3 years ago. I can't remember what it looked like. I'll put a picture of it up here. It came out very, very briefly, I think, 2 or 3 years ago. We have got thin core wicks and white wax on this one. I always kind of breathe a sigh of relief these days when I see thin core wicks on Bath & Body Works candles. Lately, they have been giving me far less problems than like the thick, ropey, tree stubby wicks. Anyways, the scent notes on Lavender Bergamot are bright lavender, bold bergamot zest, and warm tonka bean. Yeah, and I think this is nice. I think that it definitely is getting a little bit into sort of laundry care territory. And I haven't looked to see, because we don't get the laundry care up here in Canada. I haven't looked to see if this is like a crossover fragrance with the laundry care, but I do get a bit of a laundry care vibe from it. But not in like a terrible way. There's definitely, it's a nice floral aquatic, right? It's a very distinct lavender note, and it's a very distinct bergamot note. Like if I were to smell this fragrance without knowing what it is, I'm 100% certain that I would clock the lavender and the bergamot. It says there's some tonka bean on here, and I'm not really picking up on that, which is a shame because I love tonka. Nah, I'm really, really not picking up on that. I'm only really picking up on the lavender and the bergamot. And it is quite an aquatic bergamot with a little bit of zest to it. And the lavender note, it's not like the highest pitched lavender note that Bath & Body Works has ever done. Yeah, and it's a very sort of mid-range lavender. It's not like super soapy. In fact, I think that what gives this candle sort of that laundry care vibe has more to do with the personality of the bergamot note than it does the lavender note, which is interesting. But it's nice. It's a really nice aquatic lavender. Like if this candle performs really well, it might be a repurchase for me. Like I like the way this smells a lot. Yeah, that one's nice. Lavender Bergamot. I was happy to see this. I thought it was interesting that they took away Vanilla Bean from the White Barn collection. So we didn't get like a repackaging of the Vanilla Bean. They replaced it with cinnamon spiced vanilla, which I think is a decent fragrance, but not like super in my wheelhouse. And so I didn't get that. And you know what I think would have been good in this White Barn core collection is Lavender Vanilla. Because I just did a review of Lavender Vanilla yesterday and thought to myself, my goodness, this is an amazing fragrance that I think would have so much appeal to so many people, and we haven't seen it again for a hot minute. And so I'm kind of on the fence as to whether they should have gone with the Lavender Bergamot or the Lavender Vanilla. But since they didn't bring back the Vanilla Bean, I would have liked to have seen vanilla represented in this line in a way that wasn't so cinnamony, if I'm being honest, in a way that wasn't quite so gourmandy. You know, I think it's a very interesting choice that they're just choosing to not have like a straight up sort of vanilla bean candle in this year-round core line. I think that kind of tells me that vanilla is just not a fragrance that's very hot right now. You know, I think it's considered to be kind of basic at this point in time, but you know, the pendulum always swings one way or another. I think another good option, while I'm on a rant here, here. I think another good option to have included in this would have actually been that sprinkled birthday cake candle. I think that instead of doing a vanilla bean, they could have put that sprinkled birthday cake candle in this collection, because I feel like birthday cake stuff is still very trendy. Like, I'm seeing birthday cake cookies and birthday cake cereals and birthday cake pops. I think that instead of doing like maybe a straightforward vanilla fragrance in this core collection, they could have done that sprinkled birthday cake in there. And I feel like that's something that would sell quite well and quite year round. It makes a great present for someone's birthday. And it was a nice sort of sweet, cakey, gourmand vanilla fragrance. But anyways, bygones. I also picked up a Sun-drenched Linen. I have to say that I think Sun-drenched Linen is probably my favorite sort of like laundry fragrance from Bath & Body Works, and this fragrance is available in their like laundry care collection if you live in the States. And I think it's a really, really gorgeous shade of blue. I'm actually burning like an older version of Sun-drenched Linen right now. And it did really well for a minute, but now at the end here, it's gotten extremely murky and gross. And I've got this much wax left on it, and I'm gonna have to call it a day. This had thick, ropey wicks on it. And this new version also has the thick, ropey tree stub wicks and white wax. Although I have to imagine that there's probably been a little bit of a reformulation going on. And so, like I said, I'm nosy, research purposes. I want to see how this one performs compared to this one, and then I'll probably do a review of like both of them at the same time. The scent notes on Sun-drenched Linen are fresh linen, crisp tart apple, and soft musk. And I'll be honest with you, I never really picked up on the apple note in this candle, although there is a little bit of a sweetness to it, but I'm not sure that I'd even necessarily associate it as like a fruity or like as a fruity sort of sweetness. The scent notes on the old version of Sun-drenched Linen are almost exactly the same, except this one says cool linen instead of fresh linen, tart apple instead of crisp tart apple, and they both say soft musk. I really like this fragrance because it really does do a good job, at least in my opinion, of sort of summoning that fragrance of like having laundry, just freshly washed laundry, hanging out on a clothesline with the sun coming down on it. I really think that this candle does a really great job of smelling like sun-drenched linens, you know? It's definitely a mood, definitely a summery vibe, definitely a laundry fragrance, but I think it's actually done quite nicely and well balanced. And like I said, even though this version of Sun-drenched Linen got kind of gross and I'm gonna have to stop burning it there, the strength and throw on it was good. It was a very solid 7. So I'll be really interested to see how this one clocks in. Oh, I also just think that this sort of shiny glass and the colored lid was such a nice choice to just modernize these core candles a little bit. All right, now here is a throwback. I have not burnt a Lakeside Morning for years. I haven't picked it up to smell it. I have paid this candle no mind for years and years and years. On this one we have thin core wicks and white wax. But I have to say, I picked it up and I smelled it in the store, and I'm interested to give it a go because it's been a very long time. I feel like this is kind of the spring-summer equivalent of Frozen Lake, right? The scent notes on Lakeside Morning are crisp autumn air, white driftwood, and a hint of green apple. There we go again with that apple note that I'm not really picking up on. Interesting. I pick up on eucalyptus in here. Crisp autumn air, white driftwood, hint of green apple. I pick up on the driftwood. I pick up on eucalyptus. I pick up on something kind of aldehyde-y and ozonic. It's nice. I think that it's very similar to Frozen Lake, except there is a little bit more of a warmth to this and a little bit of a sweetness, and maybe that's the hint of green apple, but it's such a hint that I would never pick out apple in here without reading scent notes. To me, it's like a driftwood eucalyptus candle, and it's nice. I mean, I haven't burned this candle for so long. I'll be interested to see how it does, how it performs, all that good stuff, and I'll report back to you. I also grabbed a Cactus Blossom. I really like the Cactus Blossom fragrance. It's just been around, like, it's been out so frequently and for such a long time that I really like pay it no mind anymore. But I think that this is a beautiful packaging for it. We've got thick ropey wicks and white wax on there. Scent notes on Cactus Blossom are desert cactus, flower, petals, fresh sparkling citrus, and warm vanilla coconut. Yeah, I think this is a really lovely fragrance. It is a little bit basic. It's got a very like distinct sort of Bath and Body Works feel to it. You know, I've always thought Cactus Blossom is a very distinct like Bath and Body Works like fragrance. It's nice. There's a nice sweetness in there. It's not groundbreaking by any means, and to be honest with you, I don't know what a desert cactus flower petal should smell like, but I do pick up on just a touch of coconut in the base of this candle, and a fair bit of citrus as well. It's like a citrusy floral, kind of medium to high in range. It's nice. It's nice. Cactus Blossom. I also picked up a Midnight Blue Citrus. Gosh, I just think that this shade of blue is absolutely stunning. I really think they killed it with the color shades that they used on these candles and the way that the lids match, although almost like not quite exactly the same because the lids have a matte finish to them, whereas the jars are like glass. So it's not an exact like matchy, but it's the same color, right? And I've always thought, so Midnight Blue Citrus is like the Bath and Body Works dupe of Capri Blue Volcano. And the scent notes on it are juicy citrus, fresh spring water, and sweet mango. It's a very sweet candle. It's very mango forward actually. It's citrusy. It's got a bit of a stone fruit vibe to it. It's definitely got a bit of a sort of watery vibe, but not in a salty oceanic kind of way. More in sort of like a pond, more like a pond or a lake or a river amongst the mangoes, amongst the mango trees. There's something a little bit lush about it. It is quite sweet, and there's a little bit of something about the mango note in here that does come off as a little bit like artificial tutti frutti. And I haven't burned this one from Bath and Body Works for a really, really long time because it's just always been out in that boring like White Barn core blue jar, right? What struck me about this one though, when I smelled it in the store, is that this smells really strong. I've heard from a lot of people over the years that have tried Midnight Blue Citrus that it's very, very weak. Ooh, but this one smells strong. Like if I had to guess what the strength and the throw on this was gonna be, I'd say that it would be like a 7. It definitely smells like they've upped the strength on Midnight Blue Citrus, and I'll be interested to see how it does for sure. Okay, the last one that I picked up from the White Barn collection is Kitchen Lemon. So I guess that they have replaced the sugared lemon zest that used to always be around. They've replaced that with the Kitchen Lemon, and I do think that the Kitchen Lemon is a better choice to have in the core lineup. I think it has a pretty broad appeal. I think that so many people like having this foaming hand soap in their kitchen. And so it makes sense to me that they would replace sugared lemon zest with the kitchen lemon. And I was interested to pick it up and try it because we haven't actually seen kitchen lemon in candle form for quite a while. The scent notes on it are zesty lemon, sparkling citrus, and Italian bergamot. And yeah, I don't have much. I don't have that much to say about this fragrance, but what I will say about it is that I really am picky when it comes to citrus fruits in candles, particularly grapefruit and lemon. And something about the kitchen lemon fragrance from Bath & Body Works, it's always been a lemon fragrance that I've been able to sort of handle. And even though it does go just a touch into like cleaning supplies territory, there's also like a freshness and a brightness and an authenticity to it that I kind of enjoy. It's very similar to that sugared lemon zest candle, but with the sweetness turned down considerably. And I like it. And I do think that it's a great kitchen fragrance. I might not even burn this candle regularly. This might just go like directly under the heat lamp in my kitchen for a couple of weeks. It's nice. It's very straightforward, very citrusy, very sort of one note, but it's fairly well done. Yeah, kitchen lemon. And then I did pick up some of the candles in this new spring line. I'm okay with this packaging, I guess. This is Journal Moments. I'm okay with it, but I'm just not, I don't know, guys. I don't know if I'm just becoming a really grumpy old man. But some of the designs that Bath & Body Works has been putting out there lately have really been rubbing me the wrong way. And this is okay. At this point, I honestly feel like I would prefer for Bath & Body Works to just release all of their candles in either neutrals packaging or this packaging. Like at this point, I would just rather everything come out like that than for them to risk completely appalling me and ruining my pink lilac and vanilla experience. Anyways, okay, Journal Moments. Is this a new fragrance? I don't remember a candle called Journal Moments. I really don't. We have a cute lid on these ones. I'm not sure if my camera's gonna pick it up very well because it's a lot of white. Thin core wicks and white wax on here. I like to see that. So the jar is like sort of a clear blue glass jar, but then the wax is white. And the scent notes on Journal Moments are fresh tea leaves, papyrus, and sandalwood. And when I went into the store last week, I almost purchased this, and I almost purchased Sweetest Song, and I almost purchased Pink Lilac and Vanilla. And then I was like, you know what? Never mind. I don't want any of these that badly. But I smelled Journal Moments again today, and I like it. It's got sort of a like library vibe to it. It's got sort of a creamy, but also sort of dry sandalwood note in there. Like there's almost something a little bit like papery about it. I think it's really interesting. It doesn't smell like it's gonna be super strong. It says fresh tea leaves. I would say that we're talking about a pretty basic sort of classic breakfast tea. Yeah, there's sort of a bit of a tea, paper, woodsy vibe to this. And I do like the fragrance, but my biggest concern for this one is that it smells quite light. However, with thin core wicks, hopefully it'll burn really nicely with some good wax pools and we'll get something out of it. Yeah, I'll be interested to see how this one does. You know, I just did a review of the Belle candle from the Disney Princess collection, the Belle candle, which was like a rose candle. I think that they could have made that Belle candle a lot more interesting by doing something like this with like a rose note, you know? So if you were to mash up this Journal Moments candle with like a soft rose, I thought that that would have really been a great idea for the bell candle because she loves to read. She's always in her library, and we all know that the rose is very symbolic. I was kind of hoping that the bell candle would sort of be a rose sort of mixed with like a papery vibe. This one's interesting. I'll be interested to see how this does. Journal moments. Did you guys keep a journal? I used to keep a journal when I was like a really angsty like teenager. But I mean, I haven't done that for a hot minute. But the last time that I moved, I came across a whole bunch of old journals that I had written like back in like high school days. And I was like so embarrassed for myself. It's never good reading back on things like that. I'm just like, oh goodness gracious me. So I also picked up a rose water and ivy. I know I'm basic, guys. I've always liked rose water and ivy, and I think that I always will. And this packaging was nice enough for me to tolerate it. We've got a cute lid on this one as well. And I also noticed that we have thin core wicks on this version of rose water and ivy. And I feel like I've had burn issues with the last couple rose water and ivy candles that I've purchased. I think that they changed the wicks up quite a bit on rose water and ivy. I think that if they give it colored wax, they put sort of like thick ropey wicks on it, but with just white wax, they can use the thin core wicks for whatever reason. And I also thought that this smelled fairly strong in the store. You know what? I almost wanted to go over because I think they still have rosewater and ivy in the White Barn core collection, like the old collection. And I meant to go over in the store and smell and compare it to the White Barn core version, but I mean, I just got swept away and I never did. But this version smells a little bit stronger. You know what? If they had mashed up journal moments and rosewater and ivy for the bell candle. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna burn both of these candles at the same time at some point and been like, oh, this is what the bell candle should have smelled like. Oh, I like rosewater and ivy. The scent notes are soft rose petals, English ivy, and lemon blossom. I like that there's sort of a leafiness to it, like a fresh greenery. I like the rose note in here. It's not too perfumey. It's more like a fresh, dewy rose. And I don't really pick up that much on the lemon blossom. Sort of you'd expect that to be a little bit of a citrusy floral. I don't really pick up on any sort of citrusy floral in here. Pretty straightforward rose, ivy, leafy, like green fragrance. Yeah. I've always enjoyed this fragrance. I thought this packaging was decent enough, so I decided to pick one up. Last but not least, spring apple. All right, if you guys have been following my channel for a while, you know that apple fragrances are not usually my cup of tea. But when I smelled this one for the second time in the store today, I thought to myself, is it time for me to give apple a chance? Is it time for me to give apple another chance? I don't remember spring apple. If it's come out before, I've definitely not burned it. The scent notes are apple trees, vanilla, and sweet pear. And I think it's that pear note. There's sort of a stone fruity vibe to this fragrance. I think it's the pear note and the vanilla that is making this an apple fragrance that, fingers crossed, maybe I'll really enjoy. We have got really thick, long, ropey wicks on here and white wax. It is a very sweet apple note, but I'd say that there is equal amounts of pear in here. I'd say that it's equal, like 1-to-1 pear and apple. And there is like a bit of a vanilla in there as well. Not like a gourmandy, sort of like cakey vanilla, but more of like a fresh vanilla bean vanilla. And I think that I'm almost leaning towards saying that this comes across as more pear than it does apple. I think it's the pear that's sort of giving it like the fresh, sort of watery spring quality that I like. Yeah, so I'll be really interested to try this. Generally, the only apple candle that I've ever really liked from Bath & Body Works is mahogany apple, and this is not similar to mahogany apple at all. This is a pear candle. This is a pear candle to me with some apple and vanilla. And also there's like a little bit of like a dewy sort of greenery vibe in here. Interesting, interesting. I mean, we'll see what it's like when it's burning. Spring apple, folks. All right, that's my Bath & Body Works haul. I did okay, 2, 4, 6, 8. I got 9 candles today. So I definitely made up for my, sort of lack of purchasing during last weekend's candle sale. I could much more get behind these candles. And like I said, these White Barn Core fragrances aren't necessarily fragrances that I'm like obsessed with, but the ones that I picked out are fragrances that I like enough, and I'm nosy, so I want to burn them. I want to see how they perform. I want to be able to report back to you. So stay tuned, my friends, and thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it. I'm going to be back tomorrow with the WWW, the weekly wax wrap up. So stay tuned for that. You can follow me on Instagram at allaboutcandles and email your burning questions to allaboutcandles@gmail.com. If you could hit me up with a like, a comment, a subscription, that would really make my day. And until next time, my dear, gorgeous, and beautiful candle-loving friends, let's burn some candles and bitch about it. Thanks, you guys. Bye now.